Hello, Facebook. Hello, YouTube. Hello, anyone who is out there watching. You have stumbled your way into Kari's Corner, and I am so happy that you are here. So thankful that you are here. Welcome to those of you who are new to my corner. What we like to do is pop on the chat, tell me who you are, tell me where you're watching from, all of those fun things. If you've been here before, you know the drill. During the show, today's show, we're going to be talking about something specific and talking about nursing and what the actual job is like here in the United States. And we're going to focus on the hospital setting today, but I'm going to talk about a lot of different things that touch all fields of nursing. Hello, is it Saika? I don't know how to say it, but I attempted and I'm saying hello. Yeah, we're going to be talking about nursing and the hospital setting today and all sorts of nursing. I'm going to talk a little bit about healthcare and how it differs from countries all over the world, what the United States does. We're also going to talk about, I found a survey that talks about, CGFNS conducted it, and it talks about nurses and their feedback of what that first year is like. So once you get the job and once you get over here and you started working, what is that first year like? What are the biggest challenges that nurses are facing when they come to work, right? We focused a lot on life outside of the workplace. So the next 2 weeks, we're going to focus on life in the workplace for all of our nurses. Hello in Nigeria. Hello in Kenya. Thank you so much for watching today. I'm so happy you're here. So without further ado, today's show is just chock full of a ton of information. And I did a really big, nerdy deep dive into healthcare in the United States and what that exactly looks like. Let me make this a little bigger. There we go. So getting into it, healthcare in the United States. What does healthcare behind the scenes, like in a U.S. hospital, is absolutely the theme for the day. Greetings in the Philippines. Hello. But you also, not only are you going to be providing healthcare, but you may need healthcare too, right? For you, for your family. So it's important to understand that system and how the United States is very different than the rest of the world. Hello, Dee in the Philippines. So looking at a cost comparison, because this is something that you will want to pay attention to because it's going to affect your pay, right? You are going to want to get health insurance through your company, through the hospital, through, whoever hired you. It's probably who you're going to have your health insurance from. Hello, Richard in Ghana. Out of 11 countries examined, and this was in 2014, I listed those countries for you. Big countries, right? Hey, in Cameroon, welcome, Naomi. Australia, Canada, France, Germany, Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Sweden, Switzerland, the United Kingdom, the USA. So a lot of, basically you have Australia, Canada, most of Europe, and then the United States. That's who this survey or cost comparison really examined. The United States ranked 11th overall out of all those. If you're a math person, you realize, hold up, that's last. So this was among wealthy countries. However, this was our healthcare system overall. Evaluating the United States healthcare system overall. Out of those countries, the United States came in 11th, which is not something to brag about. However, as far as nursing and the actual healthcare workers are concerned, the United States was ranked number 3 and 4. 3 in effective care and number 4 in patient-centered care. So it's the cost overall in the United States that really brings our ranking down. Healthcare in the United States is very, very expensive. So just want to make sure you are prepared for that moving forward. Hey, in Saudi Arabia, 88.7, for those of you who aren't familiar, this is an HAQ or a healthcare access and quality index. You can look this up for any country in the world. You can look it up for your country to see kind of where they fall on the scale. The scale is from 0 to 100. And the United States scored an 88.7 overall, 88.7 out of 100, which isn't bad. It's really not. It's not bad. but it's not the best either. So I gave you a breakdown. So if you know where you're going, if you're with Worldwide already and you know where you're going, I gave you a breakdown of the map. You can see that on the screen. And a majority of the United States falls between that 82.2 to 91.3. Okay. You do have some states that looks like Washington and Minnesota and some of the northeastern states right there on the coast. It looks like I get all those back. I get New Hampshire and Vermont mixed up all the time. But you've got Massachusetts up there. Looks like you've got New Jersey. They're the 91.3. So they're doing really, really well as far as their HAQ, their healthcare access and quality. Those are also wealthier states overall. So that's something to keep into consideration. But just wanted to give you guys a picture of healthcare in the United States and what that looks like, because like I said, you guys will be paying for health insurance. As a nurse, you will be offered health insurance. And it's really, really, really important. I cannot stress this enough. When you sit down, when you start your job, you're going to sit down with a benefits coordinator or benefits provider, and that's someone from your HR or human resources department. And you're going to choose kind of a healthcare plan for you or you and your family. Have them go through that with you. Ask all the questions, because this is something that you are paying for, you're paying into. So it's really important to understand what's covered and what's not. So I broke it down a little bit. In the United States, we have private and federal insurance. We do not have a free insurance. We do have people on what's called Medicaid, and that is a federal and state government for people with low incomes. But most insurance is handled privately, right? It's privately. Private insurance is paid for through your company, your place of work, or you can choose to go rogue and you can purchase it out of pocket on your own. Those plans are usually more expensive, just so you're aware. Federal insurance is only offered to it's called Indian Health Services. That might not be culturally correct anymore or politically correct. They cover Native Americans. And then there's also a veterans one for the military. So federal insurance, which is nationwide, that is only offered to two specific groups of people. So in the USA, just for example, to see a specialist, let's say that you have a heart condition, you have a heart problem, you want to go to a cardiologist. You have to have a recommendation or you have to be referred by your PCP. And PCP stands for primary care physician. So you have to have your normal doctor, your family practitioner, refer you before you can go see the specialist, right? And in the United States, that can take some time. It can take months to get in to see doctors. It just baffles me that here in the US, we have a lot of great things, don't get me wrong. But here in the US, you can be diagnosed with, cancer, let's say, and it can take months to get you into the oncologist. It just blows my mind. They're like, oh, you have cancer. We'll see you in a couple months. So just some things to be prepared for when you're looking at healthcare in the United States. I know you guys are going to be amazing at providing the healthcare, but I just want you to be aware when you are the one receiving the healthcare. So some of the good things about our healthcare system, we are the highest in the world for specialized scans. That's CT scans, MRIs, computerized tomography, all that kind of stuff. We are among the highest in the world, actually, in hip replacements. I guess that's cool. Influenza vaccines and also breast cancer screenings. I know the U.S. has done a great job really putting a lot of money into breast cancer. I don't know if it's nationwide, but we have a big foundation called the Susan G. Komen Breast Cancer Foundation, and they raise millions of dollars every year to help with breast cancer. So it's awesome that we've come so far in that research. We are leading the world in medical innovation as well, which is really cool if you're on the research side of it. Hello in Zimbabwe. Hello in the UAE. So happy that you're here. And another cool thing, I have kids. If you have kids, I always like to look at childcare, pediatric care, and we do have the #1 hospital for pediatric care. It's the Boston Children's Hospital, and it is the #1 child or adolescent hospital in the world. So another Sad fact for you is of all the cancer money raised all over the world. So there's cancer fundraisers all over the world. Cancer touches so many lives. All the money, if you collect it all and put it in one pot, only 4% of that is going to pediatric cancer research. And that blows my mind. So there's your kind of sad fact for the day. The bad. So here's the bad. Ghana, hello in Ghana, and Botswana. Oh, that's very cool. That's so cool. I think you might be our first viewer from Botswana that's commented. So hello. So the bad, in the United States, some things that we're known for: hypertension and diabetes. Yay! Thank you, McDonald's. Providers can inflate prices and expensive services. So, for example, in the United States, if I were to go to McDonald's, if I were to go to McDonald's and say, I want a cheeseburger and fries, I would pay my price, right? If the person behind me ordered a cheeseburger and fries, they pay the same price. Doesn't matter who they are, they pay the same price. It's a menu item. Healthcare doesn't work like that. If someone went into the hospital to deliver a baby, let's say you have identical twins, and they're the same height, they're the same race, they're the same weight, everything. They have the same exact procedure done, right? The same exact procedure done. And one of them has insurance, and one of them may have a different insurance, or one of them may have Medicaid, or one of them may have just two different insurances. They're going to get two different bills. And it can differ by thousands of dollars. And that's something that does frustrate a lot of Americans. And as you're talking to your patients, they may talk to you about the financial burden of the healthcare system. So just want you to be aware of that, and the frustration of how two people can go in and get the same exact procedure, but one person pays $10,000 and one person pays $2,000. Just private insurance, you can do that. They can inflate costs, and it's not cool, but it's what we got. High medical costs have actually led to bankruptcy for a fourth of our senior citizens. So very, very, very sad. If we could get our costs under control, I think that would really improve our HAQ rating. What an amazing accent. You are so kind. I don't know if you would say that if I was, I actually can have a pretty Southern accent if I'm on the phone with my mama. But thank you. I appreciate that compliment. So let's get into nursing in the USA. I know there's a lot of words on the screen, but what is it like to be a nurse in the USA? What's it going to be like for you coming over and being a nurse? Virginia, USA. Awesome. Is that where you're watching from, or is that where you're going, Jen? I would love to hear. As you guys are aware, the demand for nurses exceeds the current supply of nurses. And what that means is we have more jobs than we have people to fill them. And you guys are already aware that usually means that a 12-hour shift turns into a 14-hour shift really quickly. That's very unfortunate for our nurses. But foreign educated nurses are more likely than the US nurses to be employed in a hospital setting. So when you guys are going through that recruitment process, if you're starting the recruitment process, you're more likely to be located in a hospital setting versus, a small practice setting as a foreign educated nurse. Let's see what else. I have some really other great statistics. Nurses who have gone through the immigration process and start work in the United States. This is really interesting. Nurses say it takes on average 12 months to become acclimated. So when you come to the United States, and I'm going to talk about that acclimation process, don't expect to just jump right in and be a pro and know it all, because you're not going to. That's just not the reality of starting any new job anywhere, much less moving across the world and then starting a new job, right? 81% of the employed registered nurse respondents reported on a survey feeling moderately or extremely satisfied with their jobs as RNs. Most of them report experience in the United States has met their expectation. So that's a good statistic that 81% of the nurses surveyed came over here and they're happy about their decision. They're happy. It's what they expected. And usually you guys come over here with some pretty high expectations. So I think 81% is a pretty solid number. The overwhelming majority indicated that it was certain or likely that they would actually continue being employed as a nurse 5 years from the date of the survey. So they didn't see themselves leaving nursing either. They didn't see themselves saying, oh my gosh, this is horrible, I have to get out. Overwhelming majority said, I'm going to stick with this. I like this. So a lot of times that means that they saw room for growth. They saw room for promotions, improvement, all of that kind of stuff, which I know a lot of you are searching for because you're not getting that where you are currently located. So there is room for those types of things over here in the USA. So let's get into transitioning to the United States. What are some things that the hospitals are going to do for you to help you transition? Now, this list does not mean that every hospital is going to offer you this. This is not worldwide saying the hospital is going to give you this. No, this is just a very general overview of some things that you may expect to happen. Some programs offer this, some programs don't. Some programs offer all of these. Some programs may not offer any of these. And you're just kind of tossed in there and said, okay, have fun. So some of the things that they may offer, though, is one is called precepting. And what that means is they'll assign you kind of a buddy or a teacher or a coach to help you as you are acclimating to your new job. They may do more clinical assessment, meaning they'll assess what you're good at, what you need help on, what you need training with, all that kind of stuff. So don't be scared if they're assessing your skills, right? Some may offer a more extensive orientation. So if you start on the same day as a U.S. registered nurse, like a U.S. born nurse, their orientation might be quicker than yours just because they've been trained there in the hospital. They already know. And you don't. You're new to the scene. So don't be offended if your training is more extensive or longer than a U.S. born nurse who's been there already. Okay? Don't take offense to that. That's not them saying, you need more help, you're not doing your job. That's them saying, we recognize you may have more to learn, and that's okay. English language classes. Some do offer help. They may not offer help, but they'll try to put you in touch with someone who can. They may reach out to, I've had people reach out to me who have already started in their career, and they're like, look, I'm really struggling with the language. So I'm going to get more into that as we go on. But English language courses, some of them offer that. Classes on medical slang and idioms. What you call something in your country, we may call it something totally different here in the United States. So, and I know medical jargon is full of abbreviations because those words they're so long. They're so long. And so you have to abbreviate them. And the abbreviations may be different just because of spelling differences between your home country and the USA. So just helping you learn those medical slang and those idioms. And then this one I thought was very interesting. Some hospitals are, hello in Qatar, thank you so much for watching. Some hospitals are actually offering assertiveness training. Now at Worldwide, I do recognize, and this is a global statistic, that a majority of our nurses are coming from Southeast Asia region. So we've got South Korea, shout out to my people in the Philippines, but that's where a majority of our nurses are coming from. Now that number is growing. And I'm super excited about that. That's what our world tour is all about. Ron Hoppy, I think, is getting ready to leave the United Kingdom after being up there. So that number is growing of where we're pulling nurses from to come to the United States. But assertiveness training, and that's because it's just a cultural difference. It's just learning how to communicate and work with difficult patients here in the United States, because you guys are nurses. Sometimes you just have a patient that is really difficult. And sometimes I wish I could just sedate this person. It would be a lot easier, right? There are difficult people. We all encounter them in our lives. Hello in England. I wonder, did you see Ron Hoppy while he was over there? That would be super cool. Hello in Iran. I'm so happy you're here today. So assertiveness training, it's just how to deal not just with other patients, but dealing with other nurses. I know some nurses, especially if you're in a very fast-paced area of the hospital, nurses can come across as really bossy and really demanding, and it may be very different from the way you're used to communicating with your colleagues. So understanding that difference and that cultural difference, just making sure you are prepared for that. Personal interaction between nurses and the hospital prior to coming to work does help to make the nurse feel more comfortable in the new surroundings. So any contact, once you've booked your flight and you're there and you're coming, reach out. Maybe you can suggest, hey, is there anyone, can I get a buddy? Can I get, who would be someone I'm going to work with? That would be someone that can help me adjust, acclimate. Maybe they already put you in touch with a buddy. Maybe they've already created your buddy and you're like, I would love to start communicating with them. You never know. It's called advocating for yourself and what you need to be successful. And that is okay. That is 100% okay to advocate for what you need, because when you're successful, that means you're providing better healthcare. And that's the ultimate goal. So let's look at, moving on, some of the difficulties that we have. Hello, Mercy in Ghana. Some of the difficulties that we have, that nurses have claimed that they face when they come to the United States. So I listed the top 4. So when you come to the United States and you start working in a hospital setting, the number one difficulty they mentioned was variations in healthcare systems. So your system where you're is probably very different from where you're going to go. So preliminary knowledge of the hospital, of the different wings of the hospital, how different people communicate with each other, any research you can do on that and on the hospital itself is going to really, really help you to be successful and to make that transition. Hello in Kenya. Hello in South Africa. So happy you're here. The second difficulty, and this one really spoke to me, language competency. That's right. Your English speaking abilities is ranked number 2 on their list of difficulties when they come to the United States. And it wasn't just, this is what I hope and I try to get you to understand about speaking English. So once you've passed that English exam, you have to continue speaking English every single day. And it's really important, not just to make you feel more comfortable, but employers, so doctors, nurses, employers, people you work with, and patients, they compare your English abilities to your competency as a nurse. So how well you can speak English, they think that's how well you can provide healthcare. Is that true? Absolutely not. Not at all. However, can you provide better healthcare if you're able to clearly communicate with your patients? The answer to that is a yes, a resounding yes. So, English language competencies, employers, right? This isn't just nurses struggling, but the employers cite that this is the most critical skill needed during the first year of practice in the United States. Speaking English. That's why I'm here. Watching from Oman. Hello, thank you so much. Number 3 was knowledge of medications and pharmacology. Western medicine relies heavily on drugs to treat patient illnesses. Some have different trade names. Some are not available where you are. What you have may not be available in the United States. Most of the errors, and this was a little scary, most of the errors made by foreign educated nurses in their first year of practice are related to medication administration. That's kind of scary. So knowing your medicines, knowing your pharmacology, that's really going to help you. Okay? And then finally, number 4 was proficiency in technology. And I'm not talking about your ability to scroll on Instagram. I'm talking about using all of that medical technology that we have packed into our hospitals. And as I said earlier, the United States is very advanced in our technology. And we have stuff over here that maybe you don't have in your country. So being comfortable, being familiar with medical technology. If you don't know how to use something, ask for training. Again, you have to advocate for yourself. If you are the new person on the job, you can't just nod your head and smile and just pretend like everything's okay, because they're going to assume on the other side, they're like, okay, they get it. And they're going to turn you loose with that technology and you're not going to have a clue what to do with it. So you have got to advocate if you need to be trained on technology. Okay? And that advocating comes from your English language speaking abilities. So English language touches all of this. Your English competency touches every single bit of this. And again, that's why I'm here. But foreign educated nurses did indicate that technology was an area where they felt the least prepared. So another thing just to think about. I know you all are thinking about so many things. You're thinking about housing. You're thinking about getting a car. You're thinking about when are you going to get your Social Security card? When are you going to get your embassy interview? While you're waiting on those things, because I know right now is a big waiting game, right? If you're not here yet, you're just waiting. And it can be really frustrating with retrogression and all of that going on. It can be really frustrating. But while you're waiting, make yourself more prepared. Beef up your knowledge on medical technology, on some of the pharmacology that we have over here. Work on your English. Work on your English. Do some research on where you're going, on the hospital that you're going to, not just, I can't wait to go to Disney World. No. Make yourself a better nurse while you're waiting. That's the best thing that you can do, because the more preparation you do beforehand, the easier it's going to be for you to transition when you arrive. All right, I'm getting off my soapbox. I know, I'm getting off my soapbox. The last thing that I have, we are waiting indeed. I know. And just hearts to you guys, all the hearts, because I know it's a frustrating waiting game. But we're waiting too on our side. So don't think that we're over here just twiddling our thumbs. We're waiting too. We want you to get here. We want you to get here as quickly as possible. Speaking of waiting, pack your patience. You have to be patient, but you need to be patient with yourself too. So this is speaking about arrival. Nurses indicate that it takes 4 to 6 months to become fully productive and 12 months to feel fully acclimated. So your sociology lesson for today is acculturation. There are 4 stages to acculturation. You have acquaintance, which is the entry phase into 3 months. That's when you're like, I'm so happy to be here. And you're meeting new friends and making new acquaintances and you're learning and you're, yay, I'm so excited. And then indignation sets in. Indignation is 3 to 6 months post-arrival. The excitement is gone and the reality has set in. Some anxiety may have set in as well. Understanding the U.S. healthcare system and your role in it can be overwhelming. This is why I tell you, find a buddy, find a friend, build your network. In that acquaintance phase, build your network, build your support system, build your, what we like to call in the U.S., we call that our village, right? Build your village. And that way, when you get to that indignation stage where you're like, I think I bit off more than I can chew. I think I can't do this. I'm not ready for this. I'm overwhelmed. That's when your cheerleaders and your village are going to kick in and go, no, you've got this. Come on, let's go do something. Let's go work on some English. Let's go learn. Let's go do this. Build that village to support you, because that indignation stage can be really tough. Conflict resolution phase, that's 6 to 9 months post-arrival, you feel like you're a part of 2 cultures. So you're starting to, hello in St. Lucia, you're starting to be like, okay, I'm getting the hang of this American thing. And when I'm at work, I'm like, yes, I'm vibing, I feel good. But then you go home and you feel like you've got your feet, 1 foot in one culture and 1 foot in another culture. Almost like you have to wear 2 hats. When you're your nurse, you have on your America hat. When you're at home, you have on your native country hat. And that can be kind of scary because you don't want to lose your identity and who you are and where you came from, but you're also really excited about this journey that you're going on and everything that you're learning. So this is when you determine your new life. This is when you determine the values of your culture, of your workplace, and you start to evaluate the aspects of nursing here in the US that you may be struggling to adopt. And you start to figure out, what is my role in this? Where am I comfortable? And then finally, you have integration. That is 9 to 12 months. You're probably going to experience a renewed excitement for your job because you're like, I made it. I've been here a year and I made it. I'm so excited. You become more confident in your abilities to practice as a nurse because you start to see new people hired on, or you start to see another foreign nurse come in and you see them going through the phases right behind you. And you're like, I was there, but I made it. So integration is obviously the goal, but that's it. That's acculturation. So be patient as you work through all of this. Acculturation is a lot like grief. There are stages that you have to progress through to figure things out, and that's okay. Just be patient with yourself while you're figuring them out. And then that's it. That is kind of, in a nutshell, the difficulties that foreign nurses faced when they come to the United States, kind of an overview of what you're going to go through when you get here and you start working, hopefully validating some of those nerves for you. And this tiny little tip of the iceberg of the US healthcare system overview. I could do like a whole 2-hour presentation and still not talk about all of the healthcare system in the US. But I am really, really, really excited for a couple of reasons. But I'm specifically excited about next week's show because I have Barb Ginger. She is a former director of nursing in the Florida hospital system. So do I have anybody going to Florida? Anybody trying to go to Florida? I know there's a lot of, Florida's a mecca, a big home for a lot of immigration comes to Florida. But Barb she is a nurse. She started at the very bottom. She worked her way all the way up to the top. So she has experienced every level of nursing in a hospital system. She's done every job. And that's just crazy. That's crazy to me. But she is super awesome. She's retired now. She's friends with my mom, which is how I met her. But she's going to be live on the show next week. It's not a recorded interview because I know some of you are like, I don't want to watch a recording. She's live. So she's going to be on here answering your questions. So if you're a worldwide nurse, if you're thinking about becoming a worldwide nurse, if you have friends who are like, I don't know if I want to check this out. I don't know what it's like to be over there. Share this link, share it with whoever you can. Tell them to watch next week because she is going to be here. She's going to be live and she's going to answer all of your questions. For example, if you asked a nursing question in the chat today, I can't answer that. I've never been a nurse. I can tell you anything you want to know about being a public education school teacher, but I can't tell you what it's like to be a nurse right now. But Barb can, about every aspect of it, about how to be promoted in the United States nursing system. So I know some of you are coming over here because you want promotion. You want that opportunity. Barb's going to tell you how to do it. So tune in next week, same time, same corner. I'll be right here. And I'm so excited to welcome Barb. So if you're thinking of applying, make sure you check out our website. Make sure you're following me on Facebook if you're not already. Final shout out to Sheila in Cameroon. Super excited. We had people literally all over the world today. So I'm so thankful for you guys. And again, if I just want to encourage you to be patient, if you have questions, if you have struggles, reach out to your case managers. Thank your case managers. They're all located in the Philippines and they are all awesome. So thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope to see you next week. I'm super excited to welcome Barb. And I guess the last thing I have is your friendly reminder to don't face the corner, face the world with Worldwide. Have a great weekend.